Argentina had everything: wealth, resources, and potential. It was once one of the richest countries in the world, competing with the US and Europe. So, why isn't it a superpower today? What went wrong? In this video, we are diving deep into Argentina's rise and fall. We'll explore its strategic location, booming exports, and the golden era that made it a global powerhouse. But we will also uncover the political chaos, economic mismanagement, and financial crisis that stopped Argentina from reaching superpower status. And finally, we'll ask the big question: can Argentina turn things around and reclaim its former glory? Let's find out. Let's start with a quick geography lesson. Argentina is the 8th largest country in the world and the 2nd largest in South America, right after Brazil. It stretches from the tropical regions in the north all the way down to Patagonia, where you'll find glaciers and some of the most stunning landscapes on Earth. But Argentina isn't just about size, it's about resources. This country is packed with natural wealth. It has fertile farmlands, massive oil and gas reserves, and a booming mining sector. The country is one of the world's largest agricultural producers, making it a powerhouse in food exports. Take the Pampas, for example. These fertile lowlands cover a huge portion of the country, making Argentina one of the top producers of beef, wheat, and corn. You've probably heard of Argentinian steak. It's world famous, and for good reason. The quality of its beef comes from the perfect combination of climate, soil, and cattle breeding traditions. But Argentina isn't just about agriculture. It sits on some of the most valuable lithium reserves on the planet. Why does that matter? Lithium is the key ingredient in modern batteries, the ones that power your phone, electric cars, and renewable energy storage. If Argentina plays its cards right, it could become a global leader in the energy transition. And let's not forget oil and gas. Argentina's Vaca Muerta shale formation is one of the largest in the world. If developed properly, it could turn the country into an energy superpower. But resources alone don't make a country rich. Location matters too, and Argentina has a strategic position that should have made it a global trading giant. The country has direct access to the Atlantic Ocean, allowing it to connect with major economies in Europe, Africa, and North America. Its ports and trade routes are crucial for exporting agricultural goods, industrial products, and raw materials. It's also part of Mercosur, the South American trade bloc, which gives it strong regional economic ties. So with all this natural wealth, why isn't Argentina dominating the global stage? Well, that's where things start to get complicated. Because despite having everything it needed to become a superpower, Argentina kept falling into the same traps: political instability, economic mismanagement, and financial crisis. For a time, Argentina was one of the richest countries in the world, and it wasn't because of luck, it was because of exports. The country had something the world desperately needed: food. The Pampas, Argentina's vast fertile lowlands, became the backbone of its economy. This region is perfect for growing wheat, corn, and soybeans, staples that fed Europe and beyond. And then, of course, there was beef. Argentina became famous for producing some of the world's best meat, and its cattle industry boomed. By the early 20th century, Argentina was one of the world's top food exporters. Its grain and meat exports helped feed the growing industrial cities of Europe and North America. The wealth generated from this trade was enormous, putting Argentina in the same league as the United States and Western Europe in terms of income per capita. But agriculture wasn't the only thing making Argentina rich. The country was also sitting on massive reserves of oil and gas. Over time, it became an important energy exporter, supplying fuel to its neighbors and beyond. And today, Argentina has another golden opportunity: lithium. The country is part of the lithium triangle, which holds more than 50% of the world's lithium reserves. With the rise of electric vehicles, renewable energy storage, and tech devices, lithium has become one of the most valuable resources in the world. If Argentina can properly develop its lithium industry, it has the potential to dominate the global market and rebuild its economy. So with all these natural advantages, why didn't Argentina continue its rise to power? The country had wealth, resources, and a booming economy, yet something went terribly wrong. At the start of the 20th century, Argentina wasn't just another developing country, it was a global powerhouse. Believe it or not, it was one of the richest nations in the world, right up there with the United States, Britain, and Germany. It had a booming economy, a wealthy elite, and a growing middle class. In fact, many believed Argentina was on track to become a superpower just like the US. Back then, Buenos Aires was known as the Paris of South America. It was a city of grand boulevards, luxury hotels, and high culture. Opera houses, theaters, and cafes filled the streets, making it one of the most sophisticated cities outside of Europe. While the Argentines traveled to London and Paris, bringing back fashion, architecture, and ideas, the country was thriving. And just like the United States, Argentina benefited from mass European immigration. Millions of Italians, Spaniards, Germans, and French arrived in Argentina, bringing skills, labor, and ambition. They helped build railways, expand agriculture, and modernize industry. This flood of talent and workforce boosted Argentina's economy and made it one of the most developed nations in the Western Hemisphere. At this point, Argentina and the US were neck and neck. Both had vast lands, booming agriculture, and strong trade relationships with Europe. The two nations had similar GDP per capita, and many believed Argentina would follow the same trajectory as the US. But then something changed. While America surged ahead, Argentina started to fall behind. So, what went wrong? The biggest difference was political and economic stability. The US, despite its challenges, had a relatively stable democracy and a legal system that protected businesses and investments. Argentina, on the other hand, fell into a cycle of political instability, corruption, and economic mismanagement. The country experienced multiple coups, dictatorships, and shifts between socialism and capitalism. Every time the economy started to grow, a new government would come in and change policies, causing uncertainty for businesses and investors. While the US focused on long-term industrial growth, technological innovation, and a strong financial system, Argentina struggled with high inflation, reckless spending, and short-term policies. By the mid-20th century, Argentina had gone from being a rival to the US to a country trapped in boom and bust cycles. Argentina had everything: wealth, resources, and talent. But instead of rising to global power, it fell into a cycle of instability and decline. Unlike the United States, which maintained a stable democratic system, Argentina couldn't hold on to a consistent government. In the 20th century alone, the country experienced dozens of military coups, political assassinations, and power struggles between dictators, populists, and democratically elected leaders. Every few years, a new government came in, undoing previous policies, leading to uncertainty and a lack of long-term planning. Investors and businesses didn't trust the system, and foreign capital began to leave. One of Argentina's biggest mistakes was reckless economic policies. Governments would overspend on welfare programs, government jobs, and subsidies without having the money to sustain them. Instead of balancing budgets, they printed more money, causing massive inflation. By the 1980s and 90s, inflation was out of control. At one point, prices were doubling every few months, making salaries and savings worthless. Meanwhile, high taxes and strict regulations made it difficult for businesses to grow, leading to unemployment and economic stagnation. No discussion of Argentina's decline is complete without mentioning Juan Perón. In the 1940s and 50s, he introduced populist economic policies, expanding social programs, increasing wages, and giving power to labor unions. This made him a hero among the working class, but it also led to unsustainable government spending. His wife, Eva Perón, was loved for her charity work, but under their leadership, Argentina isolated itself economically, nationalized industries, and spent beyond its means. The country shifted between extreme socialism and extreme capitalism, confusing investors and businesses. Argentina wasn't just hurt by its own policies, it also suffered from global events. The Great Depression, oil crisis, and financial collapses in other parts of the world had a huge impact. To make things worse, Argentina often isolated itself from global markets, rejecting foreign investment, and refusing to pay off international debts. This led to multiple defaults, further damaging its reputation. Argentina's economy is stuck in a boom and bust cycle. The country experiences rapid growth, often fueled by exports, only to crash soon after due to economic mismanagement. Every time the economy picks up, it's followed by another economic collapse, sending the country back into a crisis. This unstable pattern has made it incredibly difficult for Argentina to break free and build lasting prosperity. One of the most noticeable symptoms of Argentina's economic instability is its currency devaluation. The Argentine peso has lost value repeatedly over the years, especially during periods of high inflation and government debt. When the peso weakens, it drives up the cost of living, making everyday goods more expensive for ordinary Argentinians. This creates a cycle where the government prints more money to cover its debts, which leads to even further devaluation. And then there is hyperinflation, one of the highest rates in the world. At its worst, Argentina has seen annual inflation rates exceeding 100%. This means prices double, sometimes even triple in a matter of months. For ordinary citizens, this translates into wages losing value overnight. The savings of families vanish and the cost of living becomes unaffordable. It's a vicious cycle that's almost impossible to escape. Finally, corruption and poor financial policies have eroded investor confidence in Argentina. Politicians make short-term decisions focusing on quick fixes that only worsen the long-term situation. With economic instability and corruption running rampant, foreign investors are reluctant to pour money into the country, further isolating Argentina from the global economy. Despite its repeated economic failures, Argentina still has the potential to rise. The country is rich in resources and has a capable workforce, but it needs a complete overhaul of its economic system to avoid future crises. So how can Argentina save itself? One of the first steps is to fix inflation. To do this, Argentina needs to stop printing money to cover its debts. A more disciplined approach to budgeting and fiscal responsibility could help stabilize the economy. Independent institutions like a central bank with a clear mandate to maintain low inflation could help build public trust and create a stable environment for investment. Another priority is stabilizing the currency. The Argentine peso has been devalued so many times that people no longer trust it. Introducing measures like currency controls, foreign exchange reserves, and gradual devaluation could help restore some confidence. Argentina could also look to countries like Chile and Brazil for inspiration. Chile implemented free market reforms that attracted investment, while Brazil made strides in stabilizing inflation and diversifying its economy. Argentina could learn from their policies and implement long-term strategies focused on structural reforms and economic diversification. Another massive opportunity lies in Argentina's lithium reserves. The country sits on some of the world's largest deposits of lithium, a key resource for electric vehicles and renewable energy. If Argentina can properly tap into this market and create partnerships with global tech companies, it could rebuild its economy and lead the world in clean energy production. So Argentina's potential is undeniable, but it must first overcome its political instability, economic mismanagement, and lack of investor confidence. The question remains, will Argentina finally make the necessary changes to reclaim its position on the global stage? So to wrap things up, Argentina had everything it needed to become a superpower: rich resources, fertile land, strategic positioning, and a strong start in the global economy. But political instability, economic mismanagement, and a cycle of boom and bust have kept it from reaching its full potential. The country is still grappling with issues like hyperinflation, devaluation of its currency, and a lack of investor confidence. However, there is hope. With structural reforms, a focus on stabilizing the economy, and tapping into its lithium reserves, Argentina could still emerge from this cycle and rise again. The question is, will its leaders have the foresight to make the necessary changes? So do you think Argentina still has a shot of becoming a global power, or has it missed its chance? If you want to know how Switzerland became the wealthiest country in the world, then you should watch this video. Thanks for watching, mate. Bye.